What makes someone the greatest person in history? An emperor, an architect, or a scientist? For example, when we asked Nikola Tesla, one of the greatest scientists, we received this answer.
Greatness is not in ruling nations, but in bringing light and knowledge to humanity. The true measure of a person is in what they give to the future.
I'm Nikola Tesla. I'm here to tell you the story behind my life and work. I'm known as the inventor of hundreds of patents,
Including alternating current, radio, and many other inventions that form the basis of the technology you use today. However, the path to this success was a journey filled with sacrifices, injustices, and loneliness.
I was born on July 10, 1856, in the town of Smiljan, Croatia, into a family of Serb descent. I had a natural talent. I could remember objects I visualized in my mind down to the last detail.
This method allowed me to identify errors and save time without building a physical prototype.
This early period of my life was filled with strange quirks that would deeply influence my later work. I hated earrings on women, but liked other jewelry, like bracelets. I couldn't stand the sight of pearls, but was fond of shiny, pointed, and flat crystals. When eating, I had to calculate the volume of my bowls, cups, and food, or I couldn't enjoy it. A painful memory of my childhood was the death of my older brother in a horse riding accident. He also had a brilliant mind and might have been another great inventor of the future. His death left a deep scar on my family, and I felt insecure every time I showed a sign of talent. My family wanted me to become a priest, but my only dream was to be an engineer. I would secretly read books in my father's large library. My encounter with the book The Son of the Devil by Hungarian writer Josu Kanitz was a turning point in my life. This book awakened my willpower. I gave up bad habits like gambling, smoking, and excessive tea and coffee consumption thanks to this strong will. This allowed me to stay healthy and fit throughout my life. Throughout my school life, I was incredibly successful in mathematics, so much so that my teachers thought I was cheating. A series of illnesses I contracted in my last year of high school brought me to the brink of death. During this difficult time, I told my father that I might recover if he allowed me to study engineering. My father, without hesitation, promised to send me to the best engineering school in the world. This promise motivated me so much that I was, in a sense, reborn.
In 1875, at the age of 19, I started at the Polytechnic School in Graz, Austria.
During my first year, I worked from 3 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day and passed all my classes with the highest grades. My professors were so concerned about my overwork that they wrote a letter to my father, urging him to take me away from school. I had read so much that I knew some books word for word. It was during this time, while reciting a quatrain from a work by Goethe,
that the idea for an invention that would revolutionize human history came to me.
the alternating current induction motor occurred in my mind, and I immediately drew the schematic on the sand with a stick.
This invention is used today in many devices, from washing machines to car windshield wipers.
To bring my ideas to life, I needed capital and investors. So I worked in various cities in Hungary and Europe. Eventually, a friend in Paris recommended that I go to America, the country of golden promises, and referred me to Thomas Edison. I arrived in America in 1884, the same year France gifted the Statue of Liberty to the United States. I went to Edison's lab with a letter of recommendation from my friend, which read,
My dear Edison, I know two great men, and one is yourself, the other is this young man standing before you.
I told him about my alternating current motor, which worked on the principle of the rotating magnetic field I had discovered.
However, Edison got angry and told me that they were using direct current and the business was going well. Still, he offered me a job. For about a year, I worked on improving Edison's primitive dynamos and making his direct current system more efficient.
I brought the company huge profits. In return for this hard work, I was expecting the $50,000 bonus I had been promised. But when I asked for the money, Edison told me,
You don't understand the American sense of humor, Mr. Tesla.
Unable to accept the broken promise, and knowing my work was worth much more than the money offered, I resigned.
after I left, I went through a tough time. At one point, I even had to do manual labor, digging ditches in the streets just to get by. The world's greatest inventor was doing day labor, with countless inventions in his head. However, this setback did not stop the alternating current revolution. In 1887, I founded a new company. I applied for patents for the 42 inventions I had been working on for years, and all of them were accepted. My inventions were so original and superior that I finally began to get what I deserved. This success caught the attention of George Westinghouse, a powerful industrialist of the time. Westinghouse offered me $60,000 for my 40 patents and a royalty of $2.50 for every horsepower of energy sold. When Edison heard about my deal with Westinghouse, he became enraged. He launched a smear campaign against alternating current. He tried to prove its danger by gathering stray animals around his lab in New Jersey and electrocuting them with AC.
He even had a convicted criminal executed with alternating current to prove its deadliness.
However, many respected scientists realized that electricity, whether alternating or direct current, was dangerous without proper precautions.
Soon after, Westinghouse's company faced financial difficulties.
Investors told Westinghouse they would only merge with his company if he got out of his royalty agreement with me. Westinghouse, as a fellow inventor who believed in patent rights, didn't want to do it but had no other choice.
My company was going bankrupt.
When others didn't believe in me, you did, so I'm giving up my royalties so you can continue developing my inventions. I sacrificed millions of dollars in potential revenue in an instant. Perhaps this sacrifice deprived humanity of many new inventions. In 1893, at the World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago, the victory of alternating current was finally confirmed. It was the most incredible light show the world had ever seen. Everyone finally had the opportunity to witness Nikola Tesla's genius. At the peak of my success, a fire in my laboratory in March 1895 turned my life upside down again. My lab and all my work were reduced to ashes. This was a loss not just for me, but for all of humanity. But I didn't give up. Since everything was in my mind, I could start over. I found a new lab and began working on my greatest dream, a wireless energy transmission system.
During this time, I picked up strange signals on my radio receiver. At the time, I thought they were from extraterrestrial beings.
But today we know they were radio waves from stars.
In 1901, I signed a deal with the great financier Morgan to build a large tower.
The Wardenclyffe Tower was intended to transmit wireless electricity and radio signals worldwide. However, when I told Morgan the ultimate goal of the tower was free electricity, he withdrew his financial support.
Morgan wasn't going to invest in a business he couldn't profit from.
My financial problems became insurmountable, and I had to sell the property to pay off my debts.
To me, money was a small and insignificant part of the mechanical and boring workings of life. As a lonely man, I gave all my love to my pigeons. I died at the age of 87 from heart failure in a modest hotel room in New York. I died penniless and alone. But I left behind countless inventions like the rotating magnetic field, radio, the induction motor, neon and fluorescent lamps, and radar. Remember, if you were to take my inventions out of today's civilization and technology, what would be left?